gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hold it, you're not that pretty. I'm a man. Wait. I shoot up the wall.
I bear witness there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the Bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Pieces and blessings upon all my AKHis and all my sisters out there. Welcome to In the Corner with AKHi, episode 1. Today, we're going to have a show in order to talk about the many things in boxing, such as Brook versus Crawford, Lomachenko rematch, Devin Haney versus Teo calling out Josh Taylor for Undisputed, and many more other topics. We might actually have Bill Haney join the show, depending on his flexibility. So stay tuned, call in. You can hold your position. The number is as viewed on the screen, so you can automatically hold your position. So if you want to talk about any topic from Errol Spence calling out Canelo Alvarez to Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman, and many more topics in the sport of boxing, you can also make up a topic or ask me any questions or call in to debate. You already know. If you're a decaf, you get a VIP pass straight to debate. And so, with that being stated, shout out to all of my AKHis in the chat. Jacob, shout out to everybody. HTX said Lopez got lucky. I don't know about that. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about everything today. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight to the business at hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
So Carl Froch came out stating that Brook is cashing out against Terrence Crawford on November 14th. Now his trainer, his longtime trainer, in fact, he came out not too long ago, I believe like 2 weeks ago, stating that he's against the Terrence Crawford fight right now because he wants to have a full training camp with, Brook, which was shocking to hear from Team Brook, since he's been calling out Terrence Crawford for the past year. And all along he was training. So now you guys don't have time. So his trainer actually was threatening Brook to leave him. He stated that I won't train Brook for the Crawford fight because he's not giving me enough time in order to execute the game plan and work on a perfect game plan for Terrence Crawford. I need to know my fighter have, the perfect game plan, and he need to be in the right condition in order to take on such a mega fight like that. So, apparently Brook wants to fight regardless of all of all of his team whispering in his ear, don't take the fight. He wants to fight. He's been calling out Terrence Crawford for like the past year and a half. So it makes sense that, when he does get the opportunity, he capitalizes on it. So that's going to be a great fight. I don't know what people are talking about, because you got to remember, everybody requested Terrence Crawford to fight Brook. Keith Thurman did. Errol Spence trainer did as well. He said he would love to see him versus Brook. And many boxing fans, including a lot of UK fans. Therefore, now when the fight is on the table, you guys can't make no excuses. Now, obviously, Errol Spence was against it. He never liked the idea of Terrence Crawford versus Kell Brook because of the fact that he already fought Kell Brook and beat Kell Brook, and Errol Spence he already know they're gonna automatically compare their performances. And since he fought the better version of Kell Brook, in his mind, it's like, of course, Terrence Crawford is gonna possibly get the edge on that comparison because Errol Spence fought a better version. But nevertheless, it's still gonna be a good fight. You know what I mean? So I can understand why Errol was never interested, but there's a lot of people that's been interested. A lot of UK fans, I'm starting to hear a lot of UK fans claiming that Kell Brook is going to pull off the upset. We saw Terrence Crawford, move up to pound for pound #1 status on the pound for pound list, which he should have been there all along. I mean, for the past 2-3 years, ever since Floyd Mayweather retired and Andre Ward. So I'm not really understanding why they never gave him his credit. He never got his just due, even though he was the most dominant in the game and proved himself time and time again. So, Crawford is the type of character you tell him you avoid him Postal, he fight Postal right away. They told him you're avoiding Flex Diaz, a gold medalist. He fought Flex Diaz right away. Schooled Postal when he was undefeated with ease. Nobody dominated Postal the way Crawford did when he was undefeated. Also, he destroyed Flex Diaz, a gold medalist. He also schooled Gamboa and knocked Gamboa out, who also happened to be undefeated and a gold medalist as well. So Crawford proved himself time and time again. Now, after the Kell Brook fight, I'm pretty sure he's going to win the Errol Spence fight right away because that's the whole point. Errol Spence was actually supposed to fight on the November 21st, and Crawford was supposed to fight a week before that. He's fighting on November 14th. Therefore, the dates is only a week apart. So it was set up like that for a reason. However, Errol Spence moved his date because now he's fighting at a big arena at the AT&T. So obviously, Crawford planned all along, and ESPN, they wanted Crawford to call out Errol Spence. And that's the fight they want next, which is the fight of the decade. It's been long overdue. The time is now. But I'm pretty sure if Terrence Crawford doesn't get the Errol Spence fight, he's going to fight the biggest name that's available. I'm talking about from Ugas to Sean Porter and whoever won it. You know what I'm saying? Whoever put himself in position to fight Terrence Crawford is definitely going to get it. And I could see, like I said before, I already gave my concern on the fact that Crawford stated that he's not motivated for the Kell Brook fight, which that's not a good sign, because you need to be motivated for every fight. You need to treat every fight like it's your most difficult, dangerous fight because every opponent will ruin your next payday. Regardless if you feel like he's not that big of a threat to you, you still got to treat it that way. So nevertheless, I think he's still training hard. I mean, it seemed like he's in great shape. And one thing about Crawford, he's not going to cheat the fans as far as coming unprepared or not 100% ready. So you could bank on that. Quad said, "Don't sleep on Kell Brook." Kell Brook, he a good fighter and all, but I just don't. I'll be honest with you. I think Crawford got this in the bag, man. But let me go ahead and move on to round 2. You guys make sure the number is in the description box below. So if you want to call in, all you got to do, just call in to the description box below. So Lomachenko, he came out stating that he wanted the rematch with Teo. He stated, "I don't like him. He really want the rematch because he felt like he could do more and he wasn't 100% ready because of his injury that he sustained before the fight or during the fight. We don't know. It's like another Pacquiao saga." Now, I mean, before I get to what he had to say in the quotes, first of all, you guys got to remember, if I don't like you or vice versa. And you see somebody that you don't like, and you've been telling the public you don't like him, and he's been talking crap about you, and you told him it's on site. When you see him, it's on site, and you link up with this fella. And once you guys link up, you've been telling the world you don't like this cat. And you telling him, I dare you to push me. He pushes you. Then you tell him, I dare you to punch me. He punch you. Then you tell him, I dare you to punch me again. And he punch you again. You still ain't do nothing about it. Then after your face is swollen up, you done got a black eye, then you decide to swing back. And that's Lomachenko. If you don't like Teo that much, he should have let his hands go in the ring from round 1 to 2 or 3. He shouldn't have waited to the 8th round to let his hands go. If you don't like a fella, you swing on a fella. You don't show him too much respect. I mean, regardless of what Lomachenko says, he has tremendous respect for Teo. Now, I don't know if that was the case before the fight, but during the fight, he definitely had a different amount of respect for Teo, because remember, he had no rematch clause. He was the A side. He could have had a rematch clause on the table, but he didn't have no rematch clause because he felt like, man, this man is not on my level. And he quickly found out that wasn't the case. He quickly found out everything Teo Sr. told him was real. So it's mind-boggling to me that, you know, Lomachenko is making all these ridiculous statements when, like I said, fight night, he didn't even let his hands go. And then he talking about he got a shoulder injury and stuff like that. I mean, what sense does that make? Let me give you guys his quotes. Getting closer was quite a challenging. The size, the reach played a huge role. I would like to apologize to everyone. Apologize to my team, and thank you to all of the supporters. He also admitted that the potential rematch against Lopez is out of his hands. It depends on him, said Lomachenko. If he can give me a rematch, then of course I'm ready. So he never congratulated Teo Lopez. He never told Teo, congratulations on the tremendous victory you had, but he expected Teo to give him a rematch, a second chance. When he didn't even congratulate Teo, he showed him no type of respect after the fight. If you go back and watch the post-fight, you know, Teo, he walked up to my man Lomachenko, and he was like, it's all good, man, it's all love. I don't know exactly what he told him, but you could tell he was, you know, trying to squash the beef they had. He letting them know it's just business at the end of the day. You was one of the best. It's the reason why I wanted to fight you. You know what I'm saying? But Lomachenko didn't even say nothing at all to him. Like, he smirked, like he looking down on him. And Teo was like, you know what? Well, forget him. I just beat your ass. I took all your belts. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you could keep your respect in your pocket. I don't want it. Because Teo pretty much earned his respect. So now he want a rematch, and he's doing the same thing Pacquiao did. You can't do that. I don't know. Like I told you guys before, Lomachenko, he said his favorite fighter, or he dreamed to be as great as Manny Pacquiao. So what did he do? He utilized Pacquiao's greatest excuse, which is the shoulder excuse. So he should hit up Pacquiao instead of doing a surgery and all that extra stuff that he don't need. Just tell Pacquiao, where is the sea? Where is the ocean you swam at in order to heal your shoulder with the salt water? That's what Lomachenko should be doing right now, because this is nothing but a bunch of excuses. Remember, guys, it was Lomachenko who said before the fight, like a week or two before the fight, I'm 100%. I never had a training camp that went as smooth as this one. Every time there's an injury, every time there's a hiccup, little things here and there. But this training camp, he said out of his own mouth, he's healthy and he's 100%. And he's going to show the world his skill. All of a sudden, right after the fight, the man forgot that he said that on camera right before the fight. He left DNA evidence at the scene of the crime. So that excuse holds no weight. You can't even use that excuse. We're going to talk about it more so in a little bit. So hopefully, I'm gonna say hopefully, ESPN comes out on First Take and they talk about this excuse by Lomachenko. And hopefully, since they have the footage, they showed the clip of Lomachenko admitting before the fight that he was 100% healthy, 100% ready, and he's gonna have his best performance against Lopez. And we know that's the deal because he didn't even have a rematch clause on the table. If he was really that hurt or he hurt himself leading up to the fight, he would have had requested a rematch clause like, man, in case that my injury come into play, at least I have this rematch clause on the table. And if it's according to the other reports of him injuring himself in the second round, how is that even possible when he did not score not even one punch in the first round? So how can you possibly hurt yourself in the first round or in the early stage of the second round when he threw no punches? It was not physical. It ain't like they were being physical on each other. He was just dancing around. Lopez told Lomachenko, I'm going to send you back to dancing school over there in the Ukraine. And that's pretty much what he did. So, like I said, quit making excuses, make shit happen. And like I said, the number is in the description box. The people that want to call in. Now, Teofimo Lopez, he's not buying the Vasyl Lomachenko shoulder injury excuse. He stated, and I quote, I was coming into this fight injured as well. If you want to talk about injuries, but hold on. Excuse me. I had a call midway through the show. But Teofimo Lopez is not buying the excuse. He stated, and I quote, I was coming into this fight injured as well. If you want to talk about injuries, but I didn't make no excuses about it. Lopez also added, I think that by him doing that, as someone who was considered the pound for pound number one, the best in the world, to use that excuse is just look worse on him than anything else. Lopez also added that prior to the fight, this was actually prior to the fight, he said, once I defeat Lomachenko, quote, he's going to make every excuse after losing. So Lopez told everybody that would listen before the fight that Lomachenko was going to resort to making excuses after the fight, which is exactly what he started doing. Now, when it comes to this shoulder excuse, like I said before, Lomachenko left DNA evidence at the scene of the crime before the fight where he stated he was 100% ready. It's going to be his best performance. He's healthy, unlike any other camp. He knows that he pretty much going to have his best performance against Lopez. That's why he didn't even have a rematch clause, right? Now, like I told you guys before, after the fight, Lopez congratulated him or, told him good fight, so on and so forth. He went to his corner to show respect. And pretty much Lomachenko looked down on him. He smirked on him. And Teo was like, you know what? Shit, I beat you at the end of the day, David Perez, my man said ESPN and their hope insurance. Lopez won 9 rounds easy. Man, I appreciate the love and support. David Perez, you got to call in, my brother. And if you do call in, let me know in the comment section your number in the description box. In the chat box. And shout out to OG Swag as well. But I really appreciated David Perez. But you already know when it comes to that hope insurance, you know what I'm saying? It's better than Geico because ESPN should be doing Lomachenko right now, just like they did Deontay Wilder. It's crazy because Deontay Wilder never said anything about a costume. You can't find any audio of Wilder saying anything about a costume excuse, and they mop the floor with him. You know what I'm saying? So we want the same energy by ESPN. We want them to give Lomachenko the same energy. That's all we talking about. Instead, they coming out with all these articles, forgetting the fact that Lomachenko debunked all of this. You guys don't gotta rely, come to me to make sure that's legit. If the injury is fake, so on and so forth, you guys don't have to come to me. It's not according to me. It's not according to new media. It's according to Lomachenko himself. He said he was 100% before the fight. And if you guys want to say, because this is what it comes down to. This is what it comes down to. Lomachenko, he utilized a page out of Manny Pacquiao book, because Pacquiao, truth be told, he laid out the blueprint of the shoulder excuse when you lose a big fight. Manny Pacquiao is the pioneer of the shoulder excuse. So Lomachenko should go over there to the Philippines and swim with Pacquiao in the Philippines in order to heal his shoulder with that salt water. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said before, we already know he came into the fight 100% healthy. Now, during the fight, we could talk about that if he want to claim he injured himself during the fight. So how is it possible that you injure yourself in the second round? And okay, if that's the case, that means you're not going to throw punches the whole night because you injured. But he turned up and picked up the pace in the 8th round. So what happened to that shoulder injury? What happened to the shoulder excuse from round 8 moving forward? That makes no sense. Now, let's say if he said, let's say the flow was different when it came to the fight. Let's say that Lomachenko won the first 7 rounds. Then all of a sudden, in the 7th round, his punch output dropped dramatically. And once that took place, he pretty much lost the rest of the fight. Then if he said, listen, I hurt my hand, it would have made more sense. But it was the other way around. It was, ironically, is the other way around. Lomachenko threw no punches for the first 7 rounds. Matter of fact, let me give y'all the stats. He threw 7 punches in 6 rounds, 7 power punches. He landed 7 power punches, equivalence of landing 1 punch each round, right? Then in the 7th round, he landed 4 power punches. That's why I had him lose the 7th round as well, just because he landed 3 more punches in the 7th round than he did in the 6th round, where he landed only 1 punch. Don't give him the round, because Lopez was scoring more punches on Lomachenko than Lomachenko scored on him. So it was easy to score. You know what I'm saying? But the point is that it was until the 8th round Lomachenko picked up the pace. And he still nearly got knocked out in the 12th round when Lopez nearly put him out. So what I'm trying to say is, what happened to that shoulder injury in the 8th round? Because you're not going to heal. It's not like your shoulder's going to come out of socket and you're going to pop it back in socket. This ain't a UFC. His shoulder was fine all night. He didn't say nothing about it after the fight. But after the embarrassment and the fact that he got exposed as an overhyped fighter by old media and ESPN, thanks to his hope insurance, now they're trying to make every excuse in the world. Instead of giving Teo his credit, give Teo his credit where credit is due, because Teo earned the right to brag and boast because he defeated Lomachenko in an impressive fashion. You know what I'm saying? They were talking about Lomachenko as this fighter on Matrix. Where was the Matrix at? Where was them angles at? Where was his skills at? Teo showed us he had more skill and he was a better skill fighter than Lomachenko, supposedly the Matrix pound for pound #1. So give credit where credit is due and give Teo his props instead of making excuses, right? Because it's the only thing excuses. Lomachenko's only making himself look bad by making excuses. He's not fooling nobody at the end of the day, or at least the night. You know what I'm saying? So you guys got to remember, when Lomachenko hurt his hand in the past, I believe it was his 3rd, 4th, or 5th fight. One of those fights. He hurt his left hand, I believe. Go back and watch that fight. What he started doing, he used his right hand, and he was still looking tremendous. I mean, he was taking, he even started taking more angles on his opponent than he did prior to that hurting his hand against his opponent. I didn't see him turn up like that against Lopez. So stop making excuses, make shit happen. Because like Lopez said, every fighter that goes into the ring is not 100%. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got a rotator cuff issue by shadow boxing. I didn't stretch one day and I threw an uppercut with full force and I hurt my shoulder. But I could still box with it. I never got a surgery or none of that. Like, it's as long as you take care of it. Now, certain injuries are more severe than others. But my point is, for example, one of the greatest fighters of all time, Andre Ward, since 14 or 12 years old, he had this shoulder problem. And he fought for 10, 15 years with that shoulder problem. He beat every fighter in the Super 6 and won the Super 6 in a dominant fashion, all with a shoulder injury. However, he always found a way to win. He didn't find a way to make excuses. He found a way to win. When he got dropped for the first time or the second time of his career against Kovalev, he got up in the second round and walked the crusher down from the third round moving forward. He did not wait till the 8th round to start letting his hands go. See, I'm going to tell you the whole truth about the Lomachenko fight versus Lopez. I went back and watched the fight. The reason why Lomachenko couldn't take all them angles on Lopez is because what Lopez was doing. He took all of that away. When Lomachenko was trying to come to him on the other side, either he will catch him with a body shot before he pivots, which he will nearly pick Lomachenko off the floor with them punches. And what he would do, he will also smother Lomachenko and push him back. He will push on Lomachenko. So that will disrupt his flow. It will disrupt his rhythm. It's like if there's a wave and you splash on the wave, it's going to disrupt the wave a little bit, right? So Lomachenko, he will try to, pivot, do all what he usually does to other fighters. However, Lopez will use his momentum for every action. That's an equal and opposite reaction. So Lopez took the play away from Lomachenko. He took away his best weapons. He pretty much eliminated Lomachenko's favorite pivot moves, his favorite weapons, and he schooled the man. Lomachenko had no answers for Lopez, but Lopez had answers for Lomachenko. So they could fight 100 times. I truly believe Lopez will beat him every single time because Lopez, he's a pro fighter. The amateurs and pros is two completely different sports. People fail to realize that. Now, if you're a great amateur, you have very high potential to be one of the greatest pros. But still, pros and amateurs are two different sports. And this is a perfect example. Lomachenko got beat by Salido, a guy with like 20 losses, and a washed version of Salido. And now he got beat by Teo, a fighter who's only 23 years old, making his first title defense. So what are excuses they're going to make now? Oh, yeah, I already know the shoulder excuse, but that's debunked by Lomachenko himself. So, like I said before, you guys could go back and watch Floyd Mayweather when he hurt his hand and got dropped after landing a punch because his hand hurt so much, not because he got hurt by a punch. And he got up. He went from fighting offensively to fighting defensively. Floyd Mayweather even switched southpaw on his opponent. You could tell like the flow changed in the fight. Even commentators always point out, oh man, this guy seemed like he hurt his hand because he's not using it as much. We didn't hear nothing about that from Lomachenko. Matter of fact, he wasn't using his hand because he was afraid of what's coming back because of Lopez. It was what Lopez doing more so than what Lomachenko was doing. And then in the 8th round, he turned up. So we're not buying that excuse. So like I said before, Lopez, he took the play away from Lomachenko. Lomachenko does all them feints. Go back to what Lopez was saying before the fight, what his dad was saying before the fight. They were saying, and they were telling everybody that would listen, at the end of the day, Lomachenko, he like hypnotize you with all the feints and, it's all smoke and mirrors. Like, you got to ignore all that. You got to block all that. Now, that's easier said than done because during a moment, if you react, you're going to have to react to something. But what Lopez did, he controlled range against Lomachenko. So all them feints didn't work on Lopez because he controlled range. Like Lomachenko said, he said right here, he said getting closer was quite challenging. The size, the reach played a huge role. I apologize to everyone, to my team and all the supporters. He's telling you right there, you got to read between the lines. He's telling you what exactly he was struggling with. And Teo had a perfect game plan. They studied Lomachenko. They had every answer for Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's just a horrible look on Lomachenko. I mean, like I told you guys before, the Hope Insurance, like my man said, like my man David Perez told you guys, you know, that Hope Insurance is better than Geico, but it ain't saving Lomachenko this time around because Lomachenko didn't let his hands go because he was fighting Teo. Now, you bring him any other fighter he fought before, he would look even better this time around because he was 100%. But it was Teo that made the Matrix look ordinary. So old media could erase your losses. Old media could give you fake straps, promote you as fighting for Undisputed, promote you as the king of boxing, but they can't fight for you. Therefore, you got to fight for yourself. The fans can't fight for you. At the end of the day, you got to fight for yourself. And that's how Lomachenko ended up getting exposed in the process. Now, he's a good fighter nevertheless, but he's not as great as old media hyped him up to be, not even a single bit. But I'm going to go ahead and pick up calls right now. How you doing, Aki? Who this is and where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. This is a first time caller, long time listener.
That's what's up.
I agree with just about everything you say about Lomachenko. But I do think that he deserves a rematch. If that Charlo, when Harrison match, I think Lomachenko deserves a rematch. I agree with everything.
You said
I gave him.
You said Harrison.
I gave Lomachenko 4 rounds.
You said Harrison. You said if Harrison could get a rematch,
Say again?
Can you repeat that? You said if Harrison could get a rematch, Lomachenko should get a rematch. Is that what you said?
I said if that Charlo that Harrison beat got a rematch immediately, I think Lomachenko should get a rematch.
Well, we got to point out the facts. Charlo had a rematch clause. That's first of all. Second of all, that wasn't a unification. Third of all, it was a robbery. I don't know who you had winning. I had Charlo clearly winning that fight. It was a good fight, but I had Charlo winning. Now, on this fight,
I think
it was clear.
Yeah,
in this fight. So you had Charlo winning that fight?
I had him winning. Okay. I scored the fight. I had him winning.
You see what I'm saying? So it was multiple reasons. The fans wanted to see the rematch because it was a bad call. It was, like I said before, they had a rematch clause. And, it wasn't a unification bout. But this fight in particular, it was a unification bout. And Lomachenko said no rematch clause for either fighter, right? It was Lomachenko who said that. Now, I would love to see a rematch too. But for what? Lomachenko put us to sleep for the first 7 rounds. I mean, the man threw no punches. I mean, like I was hyping up the fight at my home because, I'm the guru at the house that pretty much watch boxing 24/7. And I was hyping up the fight. Like this is about to be, Hagler versus Hearns. You know what I'm saying? And Lomachenko, like they were watching him like, hold on, you guys, you said Lomachenko is gonna, is gonna be a good fight, but he's not even throwing no punches. It took him. I told you guys, he landed 7 power punches for six rounds. 7. I mean, real
quick.
Yeah.
Real quick, another thing I want that confuses me now, and I call myself a boxing expert, when they start talking about Undisputed and Devin Haney. I've been watching him go back and forth with that guy, the Russell guy, and for weeks. And then they call this guy Teofimo Lopez Undisputed champion. And then I watched his post interview, and he was calling Haney an email champion if he wanted to destroy his career. Give me your take on that.
Yes, sir. I'm about to give you my take on it, in a little bit. But let me ask you to answer. Just add on my last thing I wanted to say to what you said prior. Sure. Teofimo Lopez said he shut down the Lomachenko rematch right away. He said, "F him. I'm the king now." He talked about how when he was approaching him after the fight, Lomachenko looked down on him. He smirked, and he didn't want to show him no type of respect. So he said there's no respect given back. So, he pretty much is not buying the shoulder excuse. And that's what killed the Floyd Mayweather rematch with Pacquiao, because Pacquiao used that shoulder excuse, which pissed off Floyd Mayweather so much. They were like, you know what? Ain't no rematch for you. If you're going to, you're going to go that low. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said before, Lomachenko, it took him 7 rounds and to land 11 punches, which is horrible on his part. Now, I know. Let me ask you this question. Remember when Floyd Mayweather fought Pacquiao, when Floyd Mayweather fought Canelo, all we heard in the comment section, all we heard by the fans is that the fight was boring. Floyd Mayweather was running. You could go back and just pull up a Floyd Mayweather versus Pacquiao fight. Just look at the comments. He a runner. He a runner. He this, he that. Right? They call him a runner. They call him boring. Right? Now, how ironic is it, just to point out the double standards, how ironic is it? I did not hear not even one single person say Lomachenko was running. He was boring. You see how that double standards are so real? Because Lomachenko, I challenge anybody to point out a Floyd Mayweather fight in which he landed 7 power punches for the first 6 rounds. Ain't no way. That's what I'm saying. It ain't no way in hell. Because, like I said, Floyd Mayweather, he cut different. He backed up the bigger guy, Canelo Alvarez, when Floyd was 37 years old, and Canelo was 20 pounds bigger than him. He didn't say Canelo was bigger than me, that's why I lost. I couldn't get to him. He backed Canelo up, and they still said he was running. He was making Canelo miss in the pocket. They still said he was running, he boring. On the other hand, Lomachenko, he loses in a boring fashion, and they making all type of excuses for him, and nobody called him boring, nobody called him running. Just to point out the double standards in the sport. But to answer your question, my brother, as far as the Undisputed situation, and I've been really I've been really heavy on that, and that's actually the next topic. Obviously I know you guys saw Floyd Mayweather and Devin Haney. They were in disbelief. ESPN promoted the fight as Undisputed. It was pretty much false advertisement. They pretty much lied to the world. Tessitore was lying to the world, and somebody have to hold these people accountable. It's all about credibility at the end of the day. If ESPN is like the biggest boxing network when it comes to sports, or one of the 2 biggest in the sport of in the United States, and they putting out false information, it's beyond belief. It's one thing. Look, if Top Rank is promoting this fight as Undisputed, I get it. Top Rank is the promoter. Top Rank, they trying to make some damn money. Yeah. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? But for Tessitore, who have no business in lying to the fans, he ain't making no money. It wasn't only
Tessitore, man. He had 2 more people up there. It wasn't just Tessitore.
And
you had 2 more people that could have stopped him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Andre Ward, I was shocked that I don't know what's more surprising. Tessitore lying to the fans, claiming the fight was Undisputed when it wasn't, or Andre Ward not responding to Tessitore ridiculous statements such as the fight is for Undisputed, such as Lomachenko is the fastest 3-time world champion when it's Carissa Shield, and Andre Ward knows that's his homegirl. You know what I'm saying? He know that.
That puzzled me also.
And Floyd Mayweather, he dissed Floyd. Tessitore was like, this ain't the Mayweather era. This ain't about managing boxing. This is about boxing of boxing. And Andre Ward know you know, what Floyd Mayweather's status like. All Andre Ward had to respond with was, you forgot about Pretty Boy? Did you forget about the Hernandez, the Corrales, the Angleman Freddie fights, Tessitore? I mean, Pretty Boy, Money Made was something, but Pretty Boy was another thing. And even Money Mayweather, he fought the likes of Pacquiao, Canelo Alvarez, Sugar Shane Mosley, Cotto, Maidana twice. So the list goes on and on and on. So I was extremely shocked to see Andre Ward not say anything. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what it is.
Him and that other guy. What's the other guy's name?
Timothy Bradley. Yeah.
Both of them. I'm just about to put some on their Instagram, man. I can't believe.
Why do you think that was? You think,
silent,
you think it was the influence, or maybe the Tessitore? You know, because you know when you are sitting next to somebody like that,
I think they got a job. I think they got a job with ESPN, and I guess they want to roll with the punches. That's basically what I think. They don't want to upset the apple cart, and that's the way I look at it. But sometimes you gotta just tell the truth on the air, and that's the way it goes.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, ESPN after the fight, when they showed T.O. record after the fight during the post-fight interview, they listed him as unified champion. They didn't even list him as undisputed. That's the crazy part. So
yeah, I did see that. So I also saw some asterisks by Devin Haney's name and asterisk by that what they call that championship, where that belt, where it's not a belt, but it's a way to get out of fighting the mandatory. What they call that?
French fries, the witness protection belt. That's what we call it, but it's called the French
fries. There you go. They had an asterisk by that, and they had an asterisk about by Devin Haney's name, which that puzzled me too. What was the asterisk about?
Well, as far as I know, ESPN, they didn't like the idea of the franchise title being the real title. So they said that the WBC is the real title. They recognize that as the real title. So that's why they put the WBC and they put Devin Haney name on it. Now, the French fries title, from my understanding, Bill gonna call in a little bit, hopefully, and he's gonna explain that to the fans. From my understanding, the French fries title is like it's like an interim title. You could become the WBC mandatory right away whenever you want to. So if Lopez want to unify and become undisputed fighting Devin Haney, he could activate his French fries title that he won off Lomachenko, and he could fight Devin Haney right away. However, Devin Haney can't challenge for that franchise title because that French fries title is basically a witness protection belt. It's pretty much is a secondary belt. So if you already got the real title, there's no reason you should fight for a title that's not even a belt nor a title, according to the WBC president Suleiman. So it's a secondary belt. Therefore, because it's not the number one title under the WBC organization, there's no point for Devin Haney to challenge for that title. So he can't challenge Lopez even if he want to. The franchise title is below the regular title by the WBC, according to Suleiman. So therefore, it's so much confusion. And let me tell you this, brother. Let me tell you this. Like, for example, and this is why this hurts the sport of boxing, and Floyd Mayweather talked about it. ESPN, when they promote this fight and Tessitore is lying to the fans that don't know any better. It's one thing if you're a hardcore boxing fan and you peep all of the the BS that's going on in the boxing scene, all the politics is one thing. But if you're a casual fan is another. Now, if you're a casual fan watching this fight and you know it's for undisputed for the lightweight division, right? As a casual fan, you're gonna believe it. I mean, you're not gonna think like, oh, the ESPN, the biggest network in the United States when it comes to sport, is gonna lie to me. You're not gonna think that. There's no way in the world you're gonna think, oh, they that could be false.
You're gonna be going to the barbershop saying that was undisputed. That's what you're gonna be doing.
That's what I'm saying.
Going to the barbershop saying, hey, I heard that on ESPN. It was for undisputed.
Right. And that's why that's what hurt the sport of boxing, because now this kid right here that think this fight was for undisputed, he a casual fan. Now they turning him to a decaf because he don't know any better. That's a lot of people that's coming to my channel. They confused. They really think Lopez is undisputed, but they believe it because of ESPN, not knowing the fact that ESPN put out false promo because of their agenda. For some reason, they letting Tessitore lie to the public. Now, like I said, that the way this hurt the sport of boxing, when this casual fan find out that Devin Haney is the WBC champion, the real WBC champion, because of Lopez. It was Lopez who called out Devin Haney after the fight, like you pointed out. It was Lopez who said it. Lopez was like, man, listen, give me that email champion. I'll destroy his career. Now you like, hold on, let me do my research. You find out Devin Haney is a WBC champion. You be like, what? Hold on, I thought this was Undisputed. Now, as a fan, you can't even love the sport of boxing. You can't even get into the sport because, like, hold on, how many champions are there? This Lopez had freaking 5 strap after the fight. He had 5 belts after the fight. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you tell us that this guy's undisputed. Then you find out Devin Haney is the real WBC champion. And to make matter worse, when Ryan Garcia, like Floyd Mayweather pointed out, he have a WBC belt on him. And then you like, hold on, so what champion is he? And then you find out that's like this belt right here. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody is a WBC champion. You purchase a belt too. This right here, the real strap too. It's just because of the green room. So my point is everybody could purchase a WBC belt, just like Canelo and Lomachenko. Everybody could be a WBC French fries title. The French fries title is equivalent of that belt you purchase from Walmart in order to keep your pants up. That's what it is, my brother. And that's what's hurting the sport because even the biggest boxing entities are allowing people like Tessitore to lie to the boxing fans, fooling the casual fans, turning them to decafs. And we have the UFC. They have one belt, one face, one name in every division. In boxing, we got 10 titles per division.
If those boxers quit paying those sanctioning fees and start bitching about it a little more, maybe they'll just, get straight. What you think?
Well, there's a great sign. We have Devin Haney. I had an interview with him, and he was in disbelief with it. Floyd Mayweather came out and spoke out about it, which that's one of the biggest names in the sport. So that's a positive sign. Floyd Mayweather speaking on the issue, calling out the WBC for making fake titles, replicate titles, calling out Top Rank for coming out with duplicate titles, calling out the WBA for making a super title, regular title, and all these other belts. It's a positive sign.
Yeah, regular title. You just said a regular title. Don't Floyd Mayweather's fighter that's getting ready to fight Halloween have a 135 regular title?
Yeah, he does. When he fought, so that's what I'm saying. So he got a regular title. Tio he has the super title. So back in the day, in order to get a super title, you had to defend your belt, your regular belt, 10 times in order to be elevated to the super status, in which you don't have to defend your mandatory, kind of like the French fry status, but in a more realist way, because you're already a 10-time, you defend your title 10 times. So basically you're a super champion. You don't gotta defend your mandatories. You're a proven champion, right? That's how the super title came into play. But now you don't even got to defend your title 10 times. They handing out belts. Like I said, you could purchase a belt. And that's what's killing the sport of boxing, because you don't know who's champion. It's too many names. Now,
that's right.
I don't mind the interim title. I don't mind the diamond title. I don't mind the national title.
I mind. Hell, I've been around boxing all my life. I mind. I mind. I'm kind of like you. Get rid of some of these damn titles and let some of these people fight for. Let's unify this stuff like it used to be. I'm kind of like you, man. Hey, man, I'm a long time listener. I'm gonna hang up and you give me your thought on Lopez calling out Devin Haney, and tell me what you think about that fight if it was to come to fruition. All right?
Yes, sir. I will. Thank you, my man.
I'm listening, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'll catch you next time.
All right. Talk to you, my brother. Great talking with you. So as far as Tio calling out Devin Haney, I think that's one of the biggest fights in the sport of boxing. I think the new generational fighters are setting a wave for the current fighters in the sport of boxing, letting them know what's real. Like Teo said, there's no more avoiding. There's no more Canelo Alvarez's. There's no more Gennady Golovkin's. The best must fight the best. And to see Teo fight Comey, knock him out, fight Lomachenko, outbox the boxer, the Matrix, and now call out Devin Haney, who's the A-class boogeyman in the sport of boxing that got everybody shook. I mean, his fearsome status speak for itself. For Teo to call that guy out, while everybody telling him, yeah, don't fight Devin Haney, while ESPN is not mentioning Devin Haney on purpose in order for him to avoid Devin Haney. It's all part of the plan. However, Teo, he's standing against all odds, calling out Devin Haney because he knows he's the real WBC champion. So I truly believe the fight is going to happen. I think Teo is a real champion. He will fight anybody. I think Teo is realizing, listen, for me to make legacy, for me to make history, I have to fight Devin Haney to be undisputed. That way, I could be undisputed at 135, then move up to 140 and be undisputed there. So I truly believe Teo versus Devin Haney will be next because they had a FaceTime conversation, and I had an interview with Devin Haney, which I'm gonna post it tomorrow, possibly, in which he revealed the conversation, and he said it's positive news. Devin Haney stated that Bob Arum is on board, Teo's on board, everybody is on board, he's on board, so the fight is possible next, and that's one of the biggest, fights in the sport. Remember, when Errol Spence was the boogeyman and Mikey Garcia moved up from 135 to 147 to fight him, that opened up the gates for a Sean Porter fight, for I think it was it was a Sean Porter fight, and now he's fighting Danny Garcia. You know what I'm saying? So he went from the boogeyman to the cash cow because the welterweights, like, they started looking like, damn, man, Mikey Garcia made us look bad with this move. We over here not mentioning Errol when he's the cash cow, when he's the boogeyman, when he's the most popular, and we over here trying to fight each other instead of fighting him since he got a title, and we don't even got a title. Oh man, we ain't gonna make Mikey Garcia make us look bad. And so they started calling out Errol. I think Devin Haney and Teo could set the same trend, which is the fights in the sport of boxing should happen on time. We shouldn't have to wait 5 years for a fight to get made. We shouldn't have to wait 3 years to get to a fight to get made. It was Bob Arum and Pacquiao who set that trend when Pacquiao turned down a VADA test for $50 million with a 50-50 split. When Bob Arum pushed down the fight because, according to Freddie, Bob Arum and Pacquiao pretty much wanted that fight to be Pacquiao's last fight. More so Bob Arum. Pacquiao was more worried about Floyd's ability status. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, the point is, I really think Teo and Devin Haney could set a trend of the best versus the best. And if they pull that off, I could promise you, I could guarantee you Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford will get made right away after that, because they're going to be like, well, we got kids unifying and we haven't unified yet. Oh, no, we got to make it happen. I truly believe they could set a trend and, put pressure on Anthony Joshua to fight the likes of Wilder, so on and so forth. That type of fight, because like we had to wait for Wilder versus AJ for years. You know what I'm saying? It never happened. Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence, it never happened. Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence, it haven't happened yet. We keep talking about all these mega fights. Boxing could be the biggest sport in the world like it was when Muhammad Ali was around, when there was only one belt, one face, one name, and Muhammad Ali was the biggest star in the world. He was bigger than the sport of boxing. Boxing could go back to them days when Ali was fighting. 3 billion people used to watch a fight. I don't care what sport you watch. I don't care what sport you like, from football, basketball, soccer, whatever the sport is. Nothing tops a great fight, hand-wise, boxing-wise, from the best in the division versus the second best in the division, or the best in the weight class versus the second best in the weight class. One face, one name against one face, one name, instead of 10 belts in a sport. That will set a trend. And I think Teo realizes that, and he knows, he already got old media respect beating Lomachenko. Now if fighting Devin Haney, the boogeyman status that had Lomachenko waving the white flag, surrendering the title. He beat that man. The sky's the limit. He the man. You know, I mean, you heard his dad. He said that that's his dream fight. And guess who? Well, guess what Devin Haney's name is? The Dream. So I truly believe the fight is going to be next, inshallah. So Devin Haney just got to come correct, call him out. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be a hell of a fight. But let me talk about, you know, after the fight, before I pick up a call, I just want to get this out of the way. Talking about everything that was going on from ESPN promoting false promo as far as the fight being undisputed when it wasn't. Teo was lying to the world on national TV. It was unbelievable, to say the least. I mean, they could say the fight was for undisputed, but on the record books, that's not the case. According to BoxRec, Devin Haney is the WBC champion. According to Wikipedia, Devin Haney is the WBC champion. According to ESPN themselves, Devin Haney is the WBC champion. That's why after the fight, during the post-fight interview, when Teo was talking, instead of saying undisputed in the bottom, it said unified champion in the bottom. However, Tessitore had the audacity to lie to the world. So like I said, I don't know what was more shocking, to see Tessitore lie to the world instead of, or Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley not checking him. Andre Ward, next time, he got to put this man in his place. I'm telling you, this is getting out of hand. So it took Lopez, Teo Lopez, to check Tessitore. It took Teo Lopez to do Tessitore's job, to call out Devin Haney, to point out that Devin Haney is the WBC champion, to point out, well, listen, I just got this free belt by the WBC. It's called the French fries belt, so I'm going to take it. You know what I'm saying? It took Teo to say that. But ESPN and Tessitore, more so, an ESPN employer, lied to the world. So somebody from the higher up got to hold this man accountable, because when somebody put out a false information on national TV, you best believe the next day they will acknowledge the mistake and be like, listen, we made an error, so on and so forth. This is what we stated before. However, that was incorrect. The correct information is so on and so forth, right? That's how it usually go on national TV. But ESPN is losing all its credibility in the sport of boxing, hurting their brand when it comes to the sport of boxing by pointing out false information like that, fooling the world. Because on history, on them dotted lines, on the record books, Devin Haney is the WBC champion and Teo Lopez is going down as unified champion. He's not the undisputed. Now, it was shocking to see Lopez, like I said, give Floyd Mayweather his props. Say everybody want to be like Money Mayweather, but nobody want to be like Pretty Boy and take all these tough fights, which is what Devin Haney trying to do, is what Teo's trying to do, right? Meanwhile, Tessitore is lying on national TV, dissing Floyd, instead of talking about the real duckers in boxing, who's avoiding, like Canelo and Gennady Golovkin, who's avoiding Andrade and Charlo.
To this day. To this day. To this day. Bomb Squad!
Give me a second. So like I said, it was extremely shocking to see Top Rank. Excuse me for a second, because I was handling business. I thought I made an error somewhere, but it was extremely shocking to see Top Rank give Teofimo Lopez a duplicate belt, a fake belt, a fake WBC belt with a Top Rank logo on it. They pretty much gave him a belt just like this one that they purchased online, and they told him, "You the champion. Take pictures with it." I kid you not. So that's extremely shocking to seeing them go that far and beyond in order to show that or falsely promote Teofimo Lopez as undisputed. Now, this is not Teo's fault. Just to point out, this is not Teo's fault. He's not responsible for the French fries title. It was Lomachenko who requested that title, causing more confusion. So Bob Arum is complaining about too many titles in the sport. It need to be cleared up. However, he's the one requesting title. He's the one that requested the French fries title with Lomachenko in order to avoid Devin Haney. So how you complaining about a problem when you adding on to the problem by creating more belts? So like I was saying earlier, I don't mind the interim title. I don't mind the national title, because those titles are motivational titles. It's like, oh, okay, I'm on the national level now. Okay, I'm trying to get to the international level now. So, okay, I'm going to win the interim in order to win the real title. The interim is like the mandatory. So I don't mind those titles. But I do mind the French fries title, the super title, the regular title. Like, nah, we should have one championship title, the champion of the world, at least per organization. That's the least we could do. If you're not going to eliminate all these other extra belts, the least you could do is have one real title, like the IBF. I got no problem with the IBF, because the IBF is the real title. So it was shocking to see Teo give his dad the WBC belt, the one that he do not have. And Teo Sr. was holding that belt proud. You know what I'm saying? When they not even the WBC champions. So Teo Sr. could have chose from the WBA regular title, the IBF, the WBA. Any of those titles would have completed the job. You know what I'm saying? He would have been proud sitting on that chair, but he chose the title that his son didn't have. Because why? All because Top Rank and ESPN is fooling the public, and they even fool Teo. You know what I mean? So this is not Teo's fault. This is Top Rank fault for handing Teo a fake strap with the Top Rank logo on it. I never seen this before in the history of the sport. I never seen an organization, a boxing entity, handing a champion that's already a 3-time world champion a fake WBC duplicate belt in order to show the world that he's the WBC champion when he's not. Never seen it done before. And that's what Floyd Mayweather was complaining about. That's what Devin Haney was in disbelief with, seeing the fact that they creating duplicate belts, destroying and hurting the reputation of the sport of boxing, because it's just too many belts. I mean, everybody a champion now. Everybody got a belt. Like I said, Ryan Garcia got a belt. And it don't even say interim on it. It don't say like, when Ryan Garcia be rocking his belt, it don't say like, this is the interim title, this is whatever. No, it looked like the real strap. How you rocking the WBC real title when you're not the real champion? Even as a fighter, you shouldn't rock a championship belt if you're not the real champion. You shouldn't try to fool the public. Now, if you're the interim champion and you got the interim title, I understand. But you shouldn't rock a real WBC title when you're not a champion yet. And Ryan had the audacity to tell Devin Haney, if you're a champion, I'm a champion. Nah, it don't work that way. Devin Haney, the boogeyman. Devin Haney had Lomachenko saying, oh, nah. He was treating Devin Haney like he's the A boogeyman in the sport of boxing. Devin Haney changed Lomachenko last name from Lomachenko to Nomachenko. Ryan didn't do that. Devin Haney was Lomachenko mandatory, and the champion chose to avoid the mandatory, like Riddick Bowe back in the day when he didn't want to fight Lennox Lewis for the WBC title, and threw the title to the trash. That's what Lomachenko did in a political way. He did what Riddick Bowe did. He's like, man, I tossed this belt to the trash. Canelo did the same thing when they were trying to force him to fight Gennady Golovkin. He tossed the belt to the trash. He was about to do the same thing against Charlo, but the WBC was like, wait. We still want your money. So what we gonna do with that Canelo Alvarez? We gonna give you a title that's not a belt, not a championship, and we gonna save face that way. David Perez, too many belts. Oh no, too many diva with belts. The belt said Top Rank on it. Laughing emoji. Man, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, my brother. I mean, that was extremely shocking to see. I mean, to see a belt. Man, look, bro, this right here is the real title. I'm telling you that right now. You don't see no Top Rank logo on it. I need to put an AKHi logo on it. For real, because I'm the champion when it comes to split decision. When it comes to debate, and I got all these decafs shook. They're scared to look every time AKHi's on TV because it's always bad news for these decafs. The truth is bad news for these decafs. Since the truth is their kryptonite. They can't handle the truth, but they're allergic to the truth. That's why they tune in every single time. It bugs their ear. They must hear the truth. The truth don't find them. They come find the truth. They come to see AKHi TV. That's why we got, more than all these people live. And look at the likes. They out here hating on AKHi, but they can't take the title from me. So all I'm saying is, if Ryan is a champion, AKHi is a champion. How about that? You know what I'm saying? So it's just too many belts, man. It's just making the sport look bad, my brother. But yeah, I appreciated David Perez blessing me tonight. Blessings on top of blessings. That's for sure. But I don't know if my man is gonna call in, Bill Haney. Hopefully he does. But he haven't called in yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the calls. How you doing, my brother? Who this is and where you calling from?
Hey, AKHi. This is Lewis from Lexington, Kentucky. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. So I was just listening to everything you guys were saying. Appreciate your channel, by the way. We need to continue to have a lot more truth in what's going on in the game. So, yeah, we really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Everything I was listening to, I gotta say, well, number one, we're dealing with a lot of criminals. It doesn't matter what these young fighters do if they don't have the right complexion. You already know that they're going to control everything and make it to where the people they want to be on top are going to be on top. It's how it is. I wish Floyd would use some of those hundreds of millions to just create a whole different boxing circuit, where people could get a fair shake. But hey, that's just a wish. I was gonna say, man, if you had listened to that fight and you weren't looking, you'd think that this was some kind of an even Steven fight, wouldn't you?
Right. Tell me.
Because the way the commentators, they just twist it. It's amazing. You listen to a guy like Tessitore, and as y'all were saying before, the way Lomachenko was, I feel like Lomachenko felt the power of Lopez early. I felt like he caught a couple of shots early, and he was like, "Well, let me wait a little longer," and waiting a little longer didn't do him any good. Teofimo's he's in shape.
Yeah, but even
I think that their camp.
Let me just add on to that a little bit. Yeah, but if you're gonna try to tire your opponent out, you must at least throw body shots, at least make him throw punches. But he let Teo fight at his own pace, land punches here and there,
right,
and win the rounds without even trying. At that level, you can't give away rounds. You know what I'm saying? And he gave away 7 rounds.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Teo made him work for every single round,
Well, I only gave him between rounds 1 and 8. I only gave Lomachenko 1 round. I believe that's round 2 until I looked back at the fight, and I couldn't even give him that one. So between 1 and 8, I couldn't give him anything. I really couldn't. And, you know, I was being objective about the whole thing, but I couldn't give him anything between 1 and 8. I did give him, I think, 8, 9, and 10. But he didn't do anything. He was running. Now, but if you had listened to the commentary, he wasn't busy, so he was running. He wasn't active. He was running. So if you just look at it based on effective aggression, you know, punches landed, a good defense, you know, ring generalship and all that. I mean, basically, you got to give it pretty much the whole fight to Lopez, because that certainly wasn't what Lomachenko was doing. See, they were too arrogant. Lomachenko, those guys, they can be very arrogant. Him and, you know, the media, along with, you know, the boxing guys, they wanted to make Lomachenko look like this great chess master, some type of a prince or a king, and they wanted to make Lopez look like just this dirty, no good, rotten bum, you know, who came from nothing. And, you know, like they were saying on one of the promotions, you know, they were talking about how learned Lomachenko was and how brilliant he was and his teachings, and then they compared to Lopez, and they were like, he learned from watching YouTube videos. Did you catch that? Did you catch any of that?
Man, that's crazy.
And they were just really making him look like an idiot. And I said, okay, they underestimated. I was like, okay, these guys are arrogant as usual, and they have underestimated how smart. See, Teofimo proves how, number one, they don't pay attention. He proved he can do 12 rounds. When he fought, what was that kid, the Asian kid, the Japanese, Nakasaka or something?
Yeah.
That undefeated Japanese fighter. What was that kid's name?
I think the Japan kid. Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Listen, man, that Japanese kid can fight, and he was really tall, really long reach, but he was undefeated. He was undefeated, and Lopez had to figure that out. That was a good test for him. It was a harder fight than people think.
Yeah, and just
go ahead.
That fight in particular you talking about. The thing about it was, Lopez was not going into the fight with the right mindset, because he had family issues because of I think his wife and his family.
Did he?
Yeah, there was a lot going on, like static. You know what I'm saying? That's why.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's why if you watch Lomachenko lead up versus Lopez, I don't know if you watched the scene when he was crying. He was talking about his relationship with his dad. It all started from that situation. So. He going into the fight, his heart, he was emotional outside of the ring because of the situation he was dealing with. But it was kind of like when Floyd Mayweather fought Maidana, he was dealing with the same issue, but Teo was dealing with a family issue more so. So that also came into play. But he still found a way to win. But that also came into play.
I'm glad you brought that out. That makes more sense to me. I couldn't figure out what was going on there. But they even used that to try to make Lopez look weak and look like he came from a broken home, on that same thing I was talking about, where they were trying to make him look like he was just a nothing. That was one of the things they used. They talked about the difference in Lomachenko's relationship with his father, you know, and then Lopez and his father. And it was just really dirty and slimy how they did that. But I said, okay, they're going to underestimate everything about this kid, and that's good for Lopez, because Lopez can whoop him, and I think he will. But I'll be honest, I thought the only way he was going to get a victory is if he knocked him out, because I thought that they might cheat him, you know?
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, that I would have. I'm not a betting man, but I would have put money on him had I thought he could get a fair decision.
Yeah,
but that's another story. But
to add on to what you said, because you said a whole lot, you know, I want to add on to, you know, how they did him through the lead up. I felt like it was kind of, you know, that was low by, you know, the commentators, or more so during the, you know, the press conference, the last press conference, when they showed the clip of him crying and asked him, "What's your relationship with your dad now?" It's like, bro, that's not the time to show that side of him now. You know, like it's like a day or two before the fight. Why would y'all play that shit right in front of his dad and have him in a corner? Like, he was just like smiling, like, damn, I didn't know they was gonna do me that dirty. And he was like, listen, I love my dad. I love that man right there. But that had me really kind of tight because I was like, man, you shouldn't do no stuff like that. At least, I mean, I would have understood it if they did it a month before the fight, but a week before the fight, that they wanted to mess with him emotionally. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Even
There's
during the
your
commentators,
answer. Yes.
during the commentary, during the fight, if you peep Tessitore, like you said, every time Teo had success, he was controlling the heck out of Lomachenko. Lomachenko, they kept telling us he started off slow. Man, it's the 7th round. You talking about he lost the whole fight starting off slow. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start off slow the first round, and it's the 7th round. They still telling us he's starting off slow instead of giving Teo his credit. Now, mind you, every time Teo has success, every time Teo landed punches, Tessitore is talking about Lomachenko dancing school. Dancing school. His father took him to the dancing school to have the best dancing skills in the world. He the best dancer. It's like, man, this ain't a dancing competition. This is a fighting competition. And he needed to let his hands go instead of keep him moving his feet away from action. And like I said, the whole night, every time Teo has success, instead of calling out the punches, which is his job, he a blow-by-blow announcer, instead of talking about his Teo, how effective he's doing, he won't say none of that. As soon as Lomachenko throws a punch, it don't matter if Lomachenko landed or missed. He will say, oh, look, a flurry by Lomachenko. Oh, man, he turning up on Teo. And man, at one point, they were talking about Teo, Lomachenko going for the KO. Well, how you going to go for the KO before you hurt your opponent? Explain to me, how you go for a KO before you hurt your opponent? You know what I'm saying? Like, every time Lomachenko had any kind of success, even if he missed, they will call it out. Meanwhile, Teo lands, they won't even call it out, and he a blow-by-blow announcer. So you could see the biasness in that. A blow-by-blow announcer, you shouldn't see who he rooting for, and you could clearly see who was he rooting for because he had Lomachenko as the pound-for-pound king. When he stated that Andre Ward and some other people disagree with him, it's like a 50-50 call. How you gonna call somebody a king before he even prove it against his opponent Teo? And also, a king, there should be no argument over who's king. So if ESPN disagree on who king, you shouldn't call him king. You should call him, okay, it's arguably pound for pound number 1. You shouldn't say he king. You know what I mean? But that's the hope insurance we're talking about.
Yeah, the hope. And then the thing you were talking about, like when you were talking about Tessitore, this is what they do. And like you talk about the decafs. If you have somebody as a decaf looking at a fight, they don't understand all the nuance. So when you have these punks like Tessitore that are looking at something completely different, calling the fight, well, these guys, they think that they're hearing the truth, even though they're looking at something totally different. It's like when Tessitore said something about, I can't remember what Lomachenko did, but then I don't know what gets into Tim Bradley, by the way. Tim Bradley, he goes from one personality to the other. Sometimes he just can't help it. He just blurts out the truth. I don't get it. But Tessitore was saying something, and Tim Bradley said, "Did you see that hook?"
Yeah.
You see Lopez's hook?
Because he's telling the truth. He like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like Lomachenko
you could tell.
Yeah, Lomachenko missed, and he called out Lomachenko missing instead of Teo landed. Like,
instead of the hook that Lopez landed. Clean hook. It was a nice clean check hook, and so but they they paid by the man, and I think they have to kind of keep their silence. I couldn't do it. But hey, whatever.
Yeah,
but Tessitore was so.
I think they still could call out Tessitore for lying. All it takes is them.
You gotta hear. You think what?
I think they could still.
You think what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think they could still call him out. Call him out for doing so.
Yeah.
They could check him. All it takes is them checking him one time. All it takes is them checking him one time. Because watching the fight, my brother is a casual fan. I got a lot of brothers, you know what I'm saying? So my AKHi was watching the fight, and when Andre Ward was saying the fight close and Tessitore was trying to make the fight like it was closer than what it was, he was like, "What? What fight are they watching?" I mean, all I'm seeing is this one-sided for Teo, and he was extremely shocked. And mind you, he a casual fan. So even if a casual fan could see that, how can a boxing expert supposedly like Tessitore, how can he not see it?
Well, bro, not only Tessitore, bro, I couldn't believe what Andre Ward, how he was scoring this thing. That I lost some respect, man. I don't know how didn't he judge this thing even? I don't understand what that was about. That was crazy to me.
Let me tell you why. I truly believe I don't think Andre Ward. I think he's a type of person. He give everybody a fair shake, but I really think Tessitore influence. When you got somebody in your ear lying to you the whole time, like I remember the 7th round. Go back and watch the 7th round. Teo clearly won that round, right? But Tessitore said,
"Oh, most definitely."
Yeah, Tessitore at the end of the round.
He said that round goes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. And Tessitore, he pointed out, he was like, "Oh, that that half of the round clearly went for Lomachenko, so that could be a Lomachenko."
Yeah, he said that was a Lomachenko round.
Yeah, it was something around them lines.
I couldn't believe it.
And guess what Andre Ward did? He gave that round to Lomachenko because he's influenced by what Tessitore is saying. Like I tell people, this dude is a cancer in your ear. Because Andre Ward don't know,
man,
he thinking to himself like maybe he got a point. But I mean, knowing Andre Ward, his status, he shouldn't listen to a decaf wizard. Andre Ward, as polished he is, as intelligent he is as a fighter and as a man in and out of the ring, he should not be influenced and listen to a decaf wizard that clearly have an agenda against fighters on the coincidental list. Keep in mind, Andre Ward, they did him the same way when he was fighting on HBO. Remember when Andre Ward used to fight on HBO, and I mean, shit, they were saying he not entertaining, and they always had something slick to say, discrediting Floyd. I mean, excuse me, Andre Ward, and they will do the Shakur Stevenson the same way. So that's why Andre Ward have to check this man, because if you don't check this man, he gonna turn him to a monster, and he gonna do Shakur Stevenson even worse.
Well, they lying. They know that they're lying when it was so Lomachenko was doing so little that at one point Tessitore just spoke up out of the clear blue. It was just so it was so ridiculously foolish. There was nothing going on by Lomachenko at all. And suddenly Tessitore says, "This is an exciting fight."
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, please.
And look, did you see how upset he got when Tim Bradley mentioned that, that he might, he's looking at Bud Crawford as possible pound for pound, and Tessitore got pissed. And he was like, the pound for pound, there were a few more sentences stated from Bradley and maybe Ward. I don't remember. Bradley had said something. Yeah, Bradley and Ward and Tessitore cut in abruptly. Well, the pound for pound is ESPN. Says the pound for pound is standing. The pound for pound is standing in the ring right now. Lomachenko.
Well, the pound for pound got exposed.
I mean, he just he could. That's what I said.
It fired back on his face because the pound for pound got exposed. I'm glad he did all of that.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's happened for a purpose. You feel me? They can't fight for him at the end.
It does. And Lopez, therefore, it's just so degrading. Yeah, they try to make these guys. If you're not, one of the European fighters, how they try to make you look so dumb. But I was going to say, I thought it was interesting. I was looking at one of the shows leading into this, and Lopez's father was looking at one of Lomachenko's fights with somebody. I guess it's another trainer. I don't know. And he was looking at it, and at one point he just said, "That's all I need to see." And he slammed the computer shut, right?
Right.
He said, "That's all I need to see." Slam the computer shut. Okay, they got something for him.
Yeah,
and they showed who was smarter.
Yeah, yes, sir. And let me tell you what he saw too. He talked about things that he saw. He said he had his son fight with his hands down. The reason why Lomachenko, when he fights his opponents, he get them in a high guard and then takes angles because they get blind. They can't see where he's going. But when you have your hands down and you rely on reflexes, you could clearly see where he's going, so you could catch him. And that was so smart. You gotta be special to pull that off. But still, the fact that he peeped that and also eliminated all his angles and all the pivots and all that just show you they had a perfect game plan for Lomachenko. And Teo showed that he better skillful and more skillful than Lomachenko because they made him look average, man, to say the least.
They made him look real average. And I don't think he let all of the information out.
Of course.
what you just told me, absolutely true about the defense. But what else did you notice? See, Lomachenko, he sneaks he got a real sneaky liver shot. And that's another thing, like you say, you get the guy's hands up high and get him thinking high and he go low. Well, Lopez was checking most of those body shots. I thought he might get caught with at least a few good liver shots, but he was doing a really good job of keeping that elbow in pretty tight. And
he was catching,
Lomachenko
with great body shots too. He was catching Lomachenko.
Oh no, he was killing. That's one of the things I mentioned to the boys. We were watching. Lopez was killing them with those body shots, man.
Yes, sir,
they were beautiful.
Yes, sir. Anything
they
you
were
want to
beautiful.
say?
So,
any last thing you want to say? Because I got other callers. So yeah, just go ahead and wrap.
Oh yeah. I apologize. Man, nothing much. Just this pretty boy Floyd. They talk about Lomachenko stopping everybody. When you look at all the pretty boys fights, he was stopping people left and right. He had people throwing in the towels. He had the fighters quitting. He had the referee just pulling them off. He was stopping people left and right. Anybody trying to hear all that? Yeah. So, we covered it, man.
Yes, let me say this last thing.
You got some of the best commentary.
Yes, sir. Last thing I want to say to that, because it's crazy. I remember when Lomachenko beat a guy that's 3 divisions below him, Rigondeaux, who was 40 years old. All the disadvantages in the world. And as soon as Lomachenko beat him, they said he could beat Floyd Mayweather. I mean, the audacity. I mean, man, pretty boy will knock him out in 3 rounds. I'm telling you, man. And that's why Floyd came out and was like, listen, you can never compare him to me. I never lost my second fight. Right. I never lost to a guy like Salido. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you don't even compare.
I saw that interview. I saw that. Yeah. Do one thing for me, man, because I love when you throw in that to this day. Give me one of those to this day.
Hey, Lomachenko, old media is still getting exposed to this day. To this day, I'm telling you.
All right, bro. Okay, hey, keep up the good work, man. We love you. All right.
Love you right back.
Take care.
Thank you. Yes, sir. So, like I said, old media looking horrible out here, man.
To this day.
What you gonna do when it come for you? When these coincidental fighters finally make it? What you gonna do? Ward bet 2K that Loma would win, so he was ready for the judges to rob Loma, to rob Lopez. I mean, hey, I don't know what was going on with Andre Ward, man. That's my guy. I got love for Andre Ward. He a beautiful person in and out of the ring, but man, I'm telling you, I think he was really influenced by Tessitore, man. I think that was the case. But I appreciate the talk. Like I said, man, I appreciate the love and support. David Perez, appreciate it. OG Swag and everybody in the comment section, appreciate the love every time. Obviously Crawford. Well, excuse me, I already talked about that. Errol Spence, he called out Canelo Alvarez, in which he stated, with Canelo, yeah, I definitely entertain that. That could happen. That's a huge fight. Errol Spence stated on an interview. He also stated, and I quote, he added, that will be a huge fight for the Cowboy Stadium when we back to 100% capacity in terms of fans allowed to attend a fight. That's another mega fight, which I could have. I could have a lot of mega fights. It takes quite a few pounds to get down to 147. I wouldn't have any problems fighting at 160. So Errol Spence is entertaining the Canelo bout. He's calling out Canelo. He's been calling out Canelo. I mean, for the past, it's 8 years. I remember my first time watching an Errol Spence interview. It was conducted by my man Dante. Shout out to the entrepreneur of new media, Dante. And he called out Canelo Alvarez even then on Dante's Boxing Nation. So I know he always wanted that fight. I believe that fight will happen eventually because Errol Spence, you guys got to remember, he's one of the biggest cash cows in the sport. So if that's a that's a big if. Once he beats a guy like Terrence Crawford, if he's capable of doing so, man, that's gonna set up a huge mega fight against Canelo Alvarez. And then a lot of people try to say that, oh, it's too much. He's not gonna be able to move up 2 weight divisions and beat a Canelo Alvarez. Well, guess what? Sugar Ray Leonard did it. Yeah, Mikey Garcia couldn't do it. But guess what? Errol Spence, the truth. He's not Mikey Garcia. Shit. As far as I know, Mikey Garcia was going up against the truth. So I know he had no chance in hell. I told you guys that. But Errol Spence is cut from a different cloth. If Floyd Mayweather was way much smaller than Canelo Alvarez, and he schooled him every single round. Now, of course, Floyd Mayweather TBE and all, but Floyd was doing so many little things in there, backing up Canelo and making him look like a nobody when he's a somebody. I mean, that Canelo that showed up against Floyd could have given anybody problems. But it just show you Floyd Mayweather cut from a different cloth. Now, Floyd was a really small guy. We could all agree Errol Spence is bigger than Floyd. Obviously, now Canelo is bigger than when he used to be. He fights at 175 now. So it's going to be around that size disadvantage for Errol Spence. Therefore, his skills are going to have to show up. And I truly believe Errol Spence's skills is up there with everybody at the top level. And I truly believe Errol Spence, I will favor Errol Spence because Canelo Alvarez is stuck in the mud. I believe Errol Spence could outbox him. I think Errol Spence, his control level is on another scale in which I really think he will give Canelo Alvarez a lot of trouble. So, I mean, I won't be too shocked if Errol Spence pulls off the victory as well. Fighting Cowboy Stadium and Dallas Stadium. I mean, we already know there's 3 lions in Texas. I mean, Canelo Alvarez already avoided 2 lions in Texas. And he avoided a tiger as well, which is Andre, right? Till this day, literally, right? But the 3rd lion, yeah, he Canelo Alvarez might think he a puppy. He might think he a little lion, a little Simba. However, that Simba could fight. You know what I'm saying? And I truly believe Errol Spence could upset Canelo Alvarez. So once he do so, all you decafs, I want to hear what excuses you guys going to make when a little guy moves up 2 weight divisions and beat the big guy, supposedly Canelo Alvarez, in his prime, supposedly, right? So we'll see if that does ever take place. However, that's a very possible fight, a huge fight to say the least. It'll be one of the biggest fights in the sport of boxing. I know it will do around 2 million pay-per-views. You know what I mean? That'd be a huge fight to say the least. So, man, I can't wait if that fight does get made at 160. I mean, we already know Canelo Alvarez is not going to fight Charlo. He's not going to fight Andre. You know what I mean? He stayed ducking him to this day. So, Errol Spence will do. On the other hand, Keith Thurman, he called out Errol Spence. My man Keith said he fighting Errol Spence in 2021. Let this boy handle his business coming up. He got not to get caught by that no-look hook by Danny Garcia. What he say? He said he got not to get caught by that no-look hook by Danny boy. He took too many punches by Sean Porter. He better not take punches from Danny. That boy Spence, he been talking, saying, why am I acting like I'm a champion still? Because I am, baby. Once a champion, always a champion. You can't take away a title. A title is like, sir, Mr. Teacher. That's a title, boy. I'm a champion. Once a champion, always a champion. I'm a people champion. The people love me. The people hate me. That's how you really know you are a champion. The people love you and hate you. That's a championship status. That's a championship status, boy. Said Keith Thurman, man. Keith Thurman, man, he talking that talk. But, man, you're going to have to be better than he needs more than just a title like a teacher, so on and so forth, because you're going to need a title in the moment. You know what I mean? Not a former teacher. You need to be a current teacher. You need to be a current champion to entertain an Errol Spence fight. Now, Keith could get back to the sweepstake right away and sweeten the deal for himself by actually fighting Ugas. Ugas got the regular title. Manny Pacquiao might actually, I think he might fight Mikey Garcia. He's looking to fight, but if he don't fight anytime soon, that super title will be vacant, and Ugas is going to fight for it. So he could fight Ugas for that title. If he wins that fight, he could automatically get the Errol Spence fight because that will intrigue Errol. I think Errol's the type of character. He ain't Canelo Alvarez. He not looking to cherry pick the weakest link in the division. Errol Spence is the type of characters like I said before, I want the Keith Thurman fight more than I want to breathe. However, after losing to Pacquiao, that left a bad taste in Errol Spence's mouth. And he's like, man, if I'm going to fight you, you got to come off a big victory. Floyd Mayweather always fought the guys he fought, even as Money May. We're not even talking about Pretty Boy. As Money Mayweather, he fought guys coming off their biggest victory. Ortiz when he beat Berto when he was undefeated. Cotto when he beat Margarito in his revenge. Mosley when he knocked out Margarito when he was a monster then. So he fought all these guys coming off their biggest win. For example, Maidana when he beat Broner. Remember that? So that's what blueprint Errol Spence is following. He's trying to be the GOAT. Therefore, he's following the TBE green print. You know what I'm saying? In order to make money, you got to follow the green print. So he ain't following the Canelo print that's as being a businessman, watching your stock falling in your prime. He not following that blueprint. Therefore, that's why he not entertaining the Keith Thurman fight. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see the fight. But Errol Spence felt like tables turn. I wanted to fight you then. You avoided me. Therefore, you were talking about you cool with the second best. Get a title. Get a good win. And I truly believe Errol Spence will fight him. But I would still love to see that fight. For the meantime, Errol Spence is talking about he looking at Crawford pound for pound status. Errol Spence said we will soon switch positions. That's what Errol Spence is paying attention to. He saw Terrence Crawford finally getting his just due by old media after Lomachenko pretty much got exposed by Teo. So he like, you know what? Now once I beat Errol Spence, I'm the undisputed king in boxing. So I think that's what Errol Spence is pretty much looking at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and pick up a call. All right, well, let me hold on. How you doing, Aki? Who this is and where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Aki? This is Kieran from Albany, New York.
Talk to me. What's going on?
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, Aki? This is Kieran from Albany, New York.
Oh, yeah. It's nice talking with you again. How you doing, brother? What you want to talk about?
I just wanted to call to basically say to hell with Vasyl Lomachenko and congrats to Teo dominating him. That was a really good fight card, and I was happy to see Teo, display, good boxing sweet plans against, the hype job that ESPN has been hyping up for the past, 2-3 years.
Right. Yeah, and see with that fight, so you're not interested in a rematch after how easily Teo pretty much beat Lomachenko, right?
No, because Lomachenko should have fought Devin Haney, and then if he was victorious, then he should have fought Teofimo Lopez immediately to prove that he's at the best at 135. But no, he doesn't want to do that. So it seems like Teo has to do more work just to get Lomachenko's attention to fight him. And, I think if I was in Teo's position, that would be very disrespectful to me for Lomachenko to say, oh, I want to rematch you, knowing that when I had to put in more work to have you come fight me, instead you should have took interest into me when I was, fighting top guys to get up to you.
Right. I definitely agree with that. I mean, Like, you know, he didn't give him a shot. He had to prove himself and put himself in position, you know. And mind you, Teo talked about that too. He said, listen, if I would have lost the Lomachenko fight, Top Rank had a new contract for me where they said, listen, you ain't gonna get paid this much. That's gonna get cut. This amount gonna get out, this gonna be out of the way. So like, you know, now after Teo, you know, lied and made an excuse, not showing Teo any respect after the fight, why should he give him a rematch? I mean, you know, he ain't Santa Claus. He ain't about to, you know, make your wishes come true. You know what I mean? So like, he whooped them with ease. I mean, he couldn't get a better victory after he talked so much shit. I mean, I'm telling you, man, they trashed. I mean, you know how like you could go back and watch the fight. That's why Lomachenko, he came out with the "I won the fight" excuse. The media did not pick that up. Like, they were like, Lomachenko, what the hell are you talking about? You threw no punches. You got to throw punches to win the fight. Then he was like, oh, I was injured before the fight. Then the audio came out of him saying that you know what I'm saying, like during the fight, you know, leading up to the fight, he was saying he 100% healthy. Then he came out and said he injured himself during the fight. So because of that, like we looked at the tape, he was using his right hand all night. So if you saying your right shoulder hurt, how you that's the hand you was using for the first 7 rounds. So it makes no sense. You know what I mean? So all these excuses that Lomachenko is making. Then after the fight, he was being a sore loser. Like I said, he was smirked on Teo, disrespecting Teo, and Teo gave him his props. Teo looked at him like, man, like he said, what he said, hold on, let me quote him. He said, F him, I'm the king now. Pretty much that's what it is. You know what I mean? Get in line. You know what I mean? You know, go get a win or two. You know what I mean? And he actually, Lomachenko, by making all these excuses, which is exactly what Teo predicted, that he was going to make excuses, he's showing his true colors, showing that he a diva, proving Teo Senior right. You know what I mean? So he, like I said, man, he need to get out of the way. You know what I mean? I still would love to see him versus you know, good fighters in the division. I mean, I still like to see him mix it up with Gervonta, Shakur down the line, Devin Haney. I still would like to see Lomachenko versus all those guys, but he's gonna have to prove himself. You know what I mean? So what's your take on that? What do you think is next for Lomachenko and Teo?
I think Lomachenko should hang it up, honestly. But if I were, you know, I guess in his position, I'd go after Gervonta and probably Devin Haney, and then take everybody out at 135 to try to get all of your belts back to at least make a statement.
You talking about Lomachenko, right?
Yeah, for Lomachenko, if he wants to redeem himself as a pound-for-pound fighter, which, you know, I don't think he's ever, you know, really deserved that title, because he doesn't have, you know, that type of caliber to, like, make him into that type of fighter.
Right. It's going to be tough for him to do that, man. I mean, you know, it's going to be extremely difficult to go through a Gervonta, Devin, you know what I mean? Especially Shakur is like, come on, man, you asking, man, he going to get washed in all them fights. I mean, it's like, it's near the end for Lomachenko, because now seeing how Teo pretty much nullified his game, people taking notes like, man, oh, that's what you got to do. Okay. Now you got a blueprint to follow. You don't even got to create a blueprint to beat this guy. You got a blueprint to follow. Matter of fact, you got 2 blueprints, Salido and Teo now. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's going to be extremely tough for Lomachenko. So, you know, what's your last thoughts? You know what I mean? Anything you want to talk about other than that?
Oh, yeah. I wanted to say for Teofimo, I guess, like, for even like the Lomachenko fight, did you ever realize that Teofimo, he wasn't actually like hurt when Lomachenko was trying to hit him with those power shots? I believe in like the 10th and 11th round, because like in my view, like I think Lomachenko was trying to play catch up, and he was like fighting very dirty against Teofimo to try to win the fight.
The only time Lomachenko hurt Teo Lopez was with his head, when he headbutted him. That's the only time Lomachenko was able to hurt Teo, when he hit him like he was a bull coming in with his head. And the second time he did it, he cut him. Now go back and watch the fight if you don't believe me. After that headbutt took place, that's when a shift took place during the fight, because Tio was kind of aware of the head. He didn't want to get head butted again. And also, I think that affected him a little bit, the way Lomachenko came in with his head. He does it very dirty. So that's why when people was making excuses for the Salido loss, claiming Salido was dirty, I mean, shit, look at Lomachenko. He dirty. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to find a way to win. And that's what Tio did. He found a way to win. And he was like, you know, you want to play dirty? And you saw what he did to Lomachenko in the 12th round. Nearly put him out. You know what I mean? So, I mean, all that, you know, like Lomachenko, he just pretty much, he never hurt Tio. I mean, I don't know, like the commentator, so Tessitore, he will scream loud as hell whenever he had any success, but Tio was never hurt at any part of the fight. Remember, Lomachenko don't have power like for him to really hurt Tio. He don't have that power, and credit to Tio, he got an iron chin. So I mean, they was just trying to make it seem bigger than it was to give Lomachenko some damn props. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, I definitely peeped that. I peeped that, yeah.
Yeah, man, Tio almost knocked him out too. Like I was hoping he was gonna knock him out in the 12th, but I don't know if you caught that one moment where the referee tried to get Tio away from like trying to stop Lomachenko after he headbutted him.
Yeah, he should have just let it go because it was 10 seconds, and I think even though Tio got headbutted during that moment, he already had the momentum. He landed like, I don't know, it was so crazy. Go back and watch that fight in the 12th round. Tio landed like 100 punches, like, and freaking Tessitore didn't call none of them punches out. He didn't mention none of them punches. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what are you doing? And as soon as and the second half of that round, he was like, Lomachenko is about to come on. What? What the hell are you talking about? He been getting his ass beat the whole round, and now you're gonna tell me he about to come on? That's what he was thinking that okay, maybe the Tio, he gassed himself out, landing all them punches, beating up Lomachenko, and then to his surprise, Tio started teeing off on him even worse and hurt him even more, and that's when Bradley was like, man, what are you talking about? And Andre Ward had to point out, like, man, that half of that round, the first half was clearly for Tio. We'll see if he could take the second half as well. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it was just so much biasness going into that fight. I'm glad, you know, Tio exposed all of that. But anything you want to say before I let you go, my brother?
The last thing I want to say is let's see Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez for Undisputed.
Yes, sir.
Huge shout out to your channel. Thank you very much for bringing out the truth. And there definitely needs to be more, you know, exposure in boxing to take out these bad commentators and these bad actors in the sport to make the sport, you know, competitive and, you know, back to its old roots.
Yeah, it hurts the sport when Tio, the fighter, pointing out that there's another champion in the division instead of the commentator himself. You know what I'm saying? So the commentator lying to the fans, to the casuals, making them decafs. Meanwhile, the fighter, Tio, he being the real champions, you know, calling out the real champions. You know what I mean? Like, it should have been Tessitore who pointed that out. It should have been the commentators who pointed that out. It shouldn't have took Tio to do so. Tio is the fighter. His job is not to tell the truth. It's the commentator's job. But ironically enough, the roles reversed. Tio should be getting paid to Tessitore's salary, I truly believe. But I appreciate you, my brother.
Yep. Thank you very much, brother.
Peace. So, like I said before, man, give Tio Tessitore's salary since he's doing his job. You know what I'm saying? Because if Lomachenko was the champion, then AKHi was a WBC champion as well. So, like I said, we need to get rid of all these fake belts. All of these political issues in boxing need to be dealt with. All of these corrupted, biased, having agenda commentators need to be dealt with. Something has to be done in order to save the sport of boxing. This cannot be done on national TV. Top Rank can't be printing a belt with a Top Rank logo on it that says the WBC and handing it to Tio to make himself look like a fool, not knowing what he just did. How you guys gonna give Tio 2 WBC belts? And he didn't know no better. He's just taking pictures like, yeah, I'm the man. You know what I'm saying? And they gave him a fake belt with a top-ranked logo on it. But anyways, Teofimo Lopez, he came out and said that he's looking to make history. He want to unify and become undisputed at 135. He called out Devin, right? Now his plan is also move up to 140. Excuse me. And fight the winner of Ramirez versus Josh Taylor, most likely Josh Taylor, for undisputed. Man, that's history right there. If you could become undisputed back-to-back in 2 divisions, that's nearly never done before. You have to go back into like the 70s, the 60s, back in the day where it was only 1 belt. So every belt was undisputed and a fighter moved up in weight divisions. That's the last time it was done. And even then it was more difficult because you guys got to remember, it wasn't just 135 to 140 jump. It was 135 to 147 jump. That's why when you do your greatest list of all time, you got to put all the elements on the table. Just because a fighter had, you know, he fought so many, not too many champions, don't mean he didn't fight as many great fighters as there are in today. Because today everybody a champion, like Floyd Mayweather said. So, however, for Teo to pull that off, in order to be undisputed at 135 and 140, he has to start off at 135 first before we get into Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor is a hell of a fighter. That's not an easy fight for no one, even for Terrence Crawford. That's a tough fight. However, 135, Teo has to actually become undisputed there first, because on the record books, he's not. On Wikipedia, he's not. On BoxRec, he's not. On any list, including ESPN, he's not. They have him as unified champion. They have him as the WBA, WBO, IBF champion, and the WBC champion is Devin Haney. So in order for him to go on the record books as undisputed, you have to fight Devin Haney for that title. So hopefully that's the next fight they make. He showed his interest in the Taylor fight for undisputed as well. I mean, who wouldn't if you could do that and pull off legacy like that? But credit to him as well for wanting to fight these cats, because at the end of the day, it's not that easy. You know what I mean? Name me any fighter today that's looking to do the same, other than Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, that's looking to collect all the titles. Canelo, he said he wanted to be undisputed till he saw Andrade and Charlo, same for Gennady Golovkin. So when the competition got tough, he gave up his belt to Deryachenko for good reasons, because afterwards he got beat by him and robbed him for the IBF belt. Therefore, not too many fighters is doing that in the sport. So credit to Teo. However, the next fight has to be Devin Haney. They had a conversation, so I truly believe that's the next fight that's going to be made, for the obvious reason. Devin Haney, the WBC champion, and in order to be undisputed, Teo have to see Devin Haney. Now, Devin Haney can't challenge Teo because he's already the WBC champion. In order for the fight to get made, Teo has to activate his French fries belt in order to force the WBC to get him the WBC title. That's how the fight's supposed to get made, according to the WBC. According to the WBC, because the franchise title is a secondary belt, is like an interim belt, he could use that as a tool to become Devin Haney mandatory right away. Skip any line and fight him right away, which Devin Haney, on the other hand, because he got the #1 title, he can't challenge for a secondary title. The champion is not about to fight for an interim title. Therefore, he can't even challenge Teofimo Lopez. Therefore, they need to get the business side done. According to Devin Haney, he stated that he talked to Teo on FaceTime. He feels that the fight is going to happen because Bob Arum on board, Teo on board, and Devin Haney on board. So we could anticipate that fight to be next. I appreciate all my AKHis that's tuning in. Shout out to Davis. Shout out to OG. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Oh, man. Hold on. Oh, man, hold on. Bill, what's going on?
What's going on with you, fam?
I see you working.
You see what we doing? We working. We don't stop this shit, man.
Great having you on the
Yeah, we don't
show.
play.
Is Devin Haney scoring?
50.
Oh, hey, who's the WBC champion?
60 nifty. Straight ahead.
Oh, Devin Haney out here working. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You guys see the WBC champion of the world, Devin Haney. Live access, all thanks to Bill, the real WBC champion of the world.
You know how we do it. We in here working, man. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
sir. I see you.
Best
Hey, Bill,
in the world, man. You dig?
Yo, Bill, have you
A-class boogeyman, huh?
the A-class boogeyman for the boxer? Yes, sir. He got that fearsome status. He got that fearsome status, man. He got everybody running.
No.
So I was gonna ask you, did you see the top rank WBC belt, the Ruplicate belt that top rank handed Teofimo right after the fight? I got it with me right now. I got it with me right now. What's your thoughts on that?
He got the belt right there.
I got the belt right here.
The belt, he got it right there. Hey, listen, we know who the WBC World Lightweight Champion is, and if anybody wants the real belt, challenge Devin for it. That's
Yes, sir.
what this shit is about, man.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys, put on a hell of a performance on the zone, and then
Here's the DHP investment right here, Amari Jones, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The next up.
The next up.
What's going on? What's going on, Mickey Bay? I see you guys working. He the next coming up. The next unboxing. You guys make sure you keep your eyes on him. It's that Haney style.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly, brother. Exactly.
And when he's fighting, Bill, is he fighting on the same card as Devin Haney?
It's Ben Baptista. Out that bay, one of our coaches. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, bro. So it's a multitude of things. We got Darren Cunningham over there.
Oh man, he's the truth too. I see him. I see him working.
He'll be fighting on the card.
That's what's up. So you guys, it's gonna be a hell of a card on the zone. You guys make sure November 7th, you mark it on the calendar. You're gonna see the upcoming stars in the sport of boxing taking over. Devin Haney and everybody. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We ain't got nothing but killers up in here, man. You know what I mean? Shamar out in New York be making his debut. Gonna be making his pro debut right after Amari.
Okay. That's great news. That's great news. Anytime you can have them all on split decision.
Hold on, I'm gonna step out the gym because he finished. He was just doing abs, so we can wrap, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right, I know you probably can hear me a little bit better now, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, Bill, man, hey, you got a lot of great talent there. That's the future of boxing right there. That's the next up. The Haney style, the Haney gym, the Haney team. So if you ain't on board, you better come along. You're gonna get left behind. But with that being said, Bill, there's been a lot of complaints in the media over too many titles in the sport of boxing. I mean, from the super franchise to the regular. So, how is it possible that a big entity like ESPN, promotes a fight between Teo and Lomachenko is Undisputed when the real WBC champion is Devin Haney? I mean, doesn't that hurt the credibility of the sport?
Yeah, well, no, like I explained time again, but I don't mean to cut you off because it's an excellent question. How do we feel about all these different narratives and stuff being painted that's not true on a network such as ESPN, a big platform like ESPN? Well, I mean, just like anything else, if you follow politics, you follow, what's going on with in the whole world with the the presidential race. I mean, you see a lot of different things that are said that are not true on big networks like Fox, CNN, and those alike. So, you know, I say that to just say that we need the people to use their intelligence, use their minds, use their thinking caps, and just take a look at the record books. Go to the record books. Fuck what they said. Fuck what they said. Go to the record books. Type in Wiki Devin. Who is the lightweight champion, boxing lightweight champion of the world? You'll have Devin. You go to BoxRec, you'll have Devin. You know, you go to ESPN, you'll see Devin. So, I mean, clearly in the record books, he is the WBC lightweight champion. And I know people want to confuse and cause and draw up fake narratives, you know, but the real intelligent people that are on this phone, that are, of course, on an app such as YouTube, well, you can also go ahead and use the same app and Google the information. Don't just listen to what they're saying, bro. You know, if you look at the picture, the lately that the brother then posted, you know, and I was all for him, you know what I'm saying? But the king, you can't be the king of the division and post Devin's belt. The belt he got has franchise on it, and the picture, the king is a picture with Devin's belt. So that's why we said that's a replica. It cannot be his belt, you know. And you can only fight for one belt in the organization. With the WBC, you fought for the franchise belt. You didn't fight for the lightweight belt. So you ended up with two belts in the ring on that night, and one of the belts was a replica, for sure.
Did you
For
see
sure.
the logo, the top rank logo on the belt?
Well, absolutely.
What's
I
your
mean, you know,
reaction?
you got a belt over there, so you know how you got to earn it. You got to go to www.wbcboxing.com, and then you point in, and then you look. Go to www. Okay, they said he's the WBC champion. Go to wbcboxing.com. Go on the website and see who the champion is.
But you can also purchase the belt from Google too. If you want to purchase one like the one Ryan got and all the other
Yeah, but
WBC belts.
but you might get in trouble too for counterfeiting. You know what I mean? If you pose it as something else, treat it as memorabilia, you know, treat it as anything else, but that you didn't fault. And the way he said email and champion and all this, bro, what is the belt? What is that belt you posing with?
So Top Rank counterfeited a WBC belt because that's what they pretty much did. They could get in trouble for that, can they? To have a counterfeit WBC belt.
Yeah, Yeah, especially I mean for pictures, especially if you saying something to the people that's not true, right? That's not true.
Right. So
you take a picture with the belt. You take a picture with the belt that looks like the real belt, but it's not really the real belt.
On national TV.
On national TV.
Promoting the fighters Undisputed.
Yeah. If you had on some knockoff shoes or a knockoff sweater, chances are I don't even need to see your jewelry because it's knockoff too. We don't need to do the diamond tester.
Right.
Because it's knockoff. You wearing knockoff. They got knockoff shit going over there. And I'm gonna tell you this. All right, listen, to the people that feel like I might be wrong, is if you go to the record books and you say that the record books ain't true, then we can't believe nothing. You can't believe Floyd, you can't believe Canelo, you can't believe no record. But if we're going to collectively and intelligently say we're gonna pay attention to the record books, fuck what y'all was saying, we're gonna pay attention to the record books, then let's go to the record books and take a look. So it's not going to be viewed as undisputed against undisputed when it's not in the record books as undisputed now. It's just a bunch of people that are saying false shit.
Right. Yes,
you know what I mean? It's just a bunch of people saying false shit and trying to drive the shit right now. But in the long run, when his grandkids sit on his lap and they take a look through history, it's all wrong. So I mean, we're as a people, we used to that happening. You know what I mean? I'm with Mike McCallum every day. I know how they're gonna try to rewrite the history. Top rank. Oh, matter of fact, okay, so Lomachenko, I'm gonna give you a perfect example of false shit. They had Lomachenko on there as undefeated before. So they're not beyond saying the wrong shit. They said the wrong shit. People trying to run with it. He took a picture with a belt that's not his. It's three belts in a replica. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, you think I'm capping, go to the record books then.
All facts.
Everybody keep records. BoxRec keeps records. ESPN got records. The Wikipedia is records. I mean, go to the record books. Fuck what I'm talking about.
And the record books have Devin Haney as the real champion. The facts say Devin Haney is the real WBC champion. The facts say Tio is a unified champion, not undisputed. So he was false advertisement of Tio as undisputed. So what's your take on him saying he want to become undisputed in 2 divisions back to back, fighting the winner of Josh Taylor Ramirez?
All roads go through Devin Haney, and you're gonna see shortly. You guys gonna see. We've been running this shit, period. They can say everything about Devin, but they won't say let's fight.
So let's fight. That's Devin Haney quote for sure. And the Devin Haney fight versus Tio has to happen next in order for Tio to make history, being undisputed back to back. That's his plan. He got to go through Devin in order to be undisputed, first of all, in the lightweight division, and that's a fact. So, anything?
Absolutely.
As far as let me ask you this question, Bill. I mean, somebody has to be responsible when it comes to the higher up. When it comes, like for example, on ESPN, somebody has to hold Tessitore responsible for saying the wrong things. Now, what can be done by the boxing fans? I mean, the complaints are there. A lot of people.
Let me ask you this: who else got 2 ducks on the pound for pound list other than Devin?
On the pound for pound list.
What fighter got two other guys on the pound for pound list that wouldn't fight him at the same time? 2 fighters on anybody's pound for pound list.
That's why Devin holds the A Boogeyman status.
That's it right there, bro. Enough said. I love my people. I love everybody. You know what I mean? I wouldn't bullshit you. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving it to you real. I look forward to November the 7th. Gamboa. We as a family appreciate him. As a challenger. To step up, because these other guys, they have a problem. They have a problem with, and it's no reason. It's for a reason that Gamboa will be in the Boxing Hall of Fame.
Right.
It's a reason. He steps up when it's time to step up. And he sees something in the 21-year-old that makes him want to step up to the challenge. And we gladly have accepted it.
Yes, sir. November 7th, tune in. The A Boogeyman status in the sport of boxing. We got that Fearman status. And I think you should change Devin Haney nickname from the Dream to the Nightmare.
To the Nightmare.
Yeah, I'm telling you, everybody has nightmares about him. You know what I mean? They don't even have dreams. You know what I'm saying? So, hopefully, the fights does get made. This is one of the biggest fights in boxing. I mean, people want to, like I said before, they want to say who Devin Haney fought, who Devin Haney fought. He ain't fought nobody. He ain't fought nobody. You only could fight who's willing to fight you. And
hey, but the cold thing about it is Devin is the only one that's saying that to fight, that he wants to fight Tio. Nobody else is saying they want to fight Tio. Tio is looking for somebody to fight. He's talking about, I'm thinking about them. People ain't thinking about you, Mr. Lopez.
Right.
You got a fight on your hand with Devin Haney.
Yep. 2 young bulls, 2 young lions, 2 young champions, willing to make history. So that fight has to be next.
We'll make Teofimo look so silly that him and his dad, he won't even come out. One of them rounds, he ain't gonna come out.
You're gonna stop him. You guys
absolutely. In the corner, on the stool.
In the corner.
That's called on the stool. That's called whipping his ass.
Man, hey, like I said before, that's the fight we all want to see, Bill. I appreciate you every single time, man. At the end of the day, tune in November 7th. You guys are gonna see fireworks. And before, during, and after the fight, Devin Haney, we all waiting on what he's gonna do right after the fight.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You in for a treat,
yes,
my
sir.
brother. I'll talk to you later, man. Peace and blessings to everybody, and stay strong until we talk again, brother. Peace.
Peace. Thank you. That's my man Bill for you guys. Devin Haney team, Haney himself, Bill Haney, made a huge statement such as they're looking to pretty much stop Teo in the corner. They're gonna make him quit in the corner. That's a huge statement by Team Haney. So that's the fight to make in the sport of boxing for Undisputed, for all marvels. One of the biggest fights in the sport, from two lines, you know, from a real champion to another. Teo, a real champion, a fighter best. Devin Haney, the A-class boogeyman. People talking about, oh, he ain't fought this, he ain't fought that. Well, guess what? If you guys claim he ain't fought nobody, he need to fight somebody, he's trying to fight somebody. It's Teo. Are you guys trying to diss Teo, saying he ain't nobody? What? Like, Teo's a somebody. Devin Haney looking to fight him. Therefore, you know, that's the fight to make in the sport of boxing, and we waiting on it. This is definitely the fight to make. So with that being said, subscribe below if you're trying to get smart about a minute. If you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't. Listen to these decavs, the dumb casual ass fans that don't know shit about boxing.
You don't know shit about boxing.
My man said, Eagle don't hunt a fly or email champion. Well, guess what? You know, if he's a fly, guess what you do to the fly? You smash it. So if Devin Haney a fly, and you're only a fly away from Undisputed, you should squash the fly. Now, if that fly happened to be an eagle, you ain't gonna be able to smash it. So at the end of the day, we already know what's going on. They acting like Devin Haney. They treating him like he's the next LeBron in the sport, like he the next Kobe in the sport. You know what I mean? So quit making excuses. Let's make shit happen. I'm sorry if I missed the chat, super chat. Teofimo Lopez, Undisputed champion. Well, according to facts, according to numbers, he's not. According to Wikipedia, he's not. According to Wikipedia, BoxRec, according to ESPN, he's not. People lie, women lie, numbers don't lie, and it's facts over emotion. So in order for him to be undisputed, like you said, he need to go through that fly in order to be undisputed. Don't tell me a fly gonna stop you from getting to your goal. Don't tell me that. So you making excuses that Teo ain't even making, because Teo called out Devin. If he's just a fly, squash him. That's all we saying. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Like I said, these decavs, they shook, they scared to look every time AKHi's on TV, because it's always bad news for these decavs, because the truth is their kryptonite. Therefore, AKHi's still undefeated because the truth is undefeated. So to all you decavs, grow some cojones and call in. I mean,
they call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.
gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hold it, you're not that pretty. Come on, man. Wait. I shook up the wall. I shook up the wall.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.